Hello, I'm Russell Sturgis. I'm the founder and principal of EAP Mentor. Welcome to the fourth part in the series, blog series that I'm doing on understanding mindfulness. And really, it's looking at the application of mindfulness in different parts of our human experience. And this week I'm looking at mindfulness and sexuality. As you will have read in the written part of this post, I talk about the importance of awareness as being fundamental to our capacity to turn up being mindful. And sometimes we aren't quite sure how to build our awareness. And of course, as I've explained on several occasions now during this series, awareness is about having enhanced knowledge and understanding. And what I want to do is share some thoughts with you about what you could do to help enhance your understanding of both yourself and the person that you might be in a sexual relationship with, in order to allow you to turn up and be more mindful, and therefore hopefully enhance the quality of the experience that you have. So I'm going to share with you some resources in terms of things that you might want to go and play with, in terms of doing some study to gain greater awareness, and I'm just going to share some odd bits and pieces from those just to sort of whet your appetite and hopefully inspire you to go and do some more research. The whole thing about when we're looking at sexuality, it's this whole idea of people coming together to engage in physical intimacy, which has all of its other emotional and mental and spiritual elements to it. But we kind of think of it in our more sort of classic sense of it being about heterosexuality, but more specifically about male and female coming together. And of course, in this day and age, we understand that experience is much more diverse than that. And part of the reason being is that who we are in terms of our core psyche, in terms of being male and female, may not actually be aligned with how we turn up with our physical apparatus in terms of our gender. So in other words, as much as a man might present with a penis and a woman with breasts and a vagina, it doesn't mean to say that in their psyche they're limited to those things. And so one of the things that I like to sort of encourage people to do from time to time is to explore the sense of where you fit on the continuum between being masculine in your psyche at one end of the spectrum, or being feminine at the other, or being androgynous, which is something in the middle. Now, this isn't sort of rocket science in terms of this one, but there's a test called the BEM androgyny test that you can find online. It's free of charge. And that's capital B, capital E, capital M androgyny test. And it's a series of 60 statements that you either strongly align with or don't, and it gives you an opportunity to score how you relate to, I think it's 60 statements. But at the end of it, you come up with a final total score, and this places you on this continuum. And it's kind of interesting for us to explore who we are in terms of our psyche, in terms of whether we're more masculine or feminine, or, as I said, in the middle in this place of androgyny. Because as much as we might turn up in a physical form, in terms of what sits underneath that, in terms of our psyche, could be basically in total opposition. So in other words, we could be male and turn up with very strong female or androgynous characteristics, or vice versa. As a female, we could come up with very, very strong masculine characteristics or androgynous characteristics, in addition to those that turn up as with the strong female alignment. So that's something just worth playing around with in terms of just better understanding who you are and who your partner is, because that's obviously going to have an impact in terms of how you relate to who you are sexually. Another thing that you might like to have a look at is the 5 love languages, which was written by Gary Chapman. And this is an opportunity. He identifies this notion that we all align with these 5 love languages, and that 1 or 2 or 3 of them will be much stronger than the other ones. And so the 5 love languages that he identified, for example, was quality time. That was one of your key, could be one of your love languages. Receiving gifts, physical touch, words of affirmation, and receiving service, acts of service from somebody. So what we're able, once again, this is readily available online. You can go in and do a test, and you can identify what your particular idiosyncrasies are. So for me personally, quality time is my number 1, and my number 2 is acts of service. And what's interesting is my third one is a tie between physical touch and words of affirmation. So, once again, when we're able to understand who each other is in terms of our love language, this gives us a greater awareness of, for example, how we can engage foreplay, which I write about in the actual blog itself. Because foreplay for somebody whose love language is quality time will be very different to somebody who may be associated with words of affirmation, or somebody who their love language is receiving gifts could be very different to somebody that's about physical touch. So once again, understanding who you are and understanding who your partner is, having that awareness means that you're able to be more mindful in terms of how you turn up and engage each other in your sexual intimacy. Another thing that you could look at is the Enneagram. That's spelled E-N-N-E-A-G-R-A-M. There's a book called, for example, Sex and the Enneagram, written by Anne Gadd, G-A-D-D. And the Enneagram is really about 9 interconnected personality types. And we are more strongly aligned with 2 or 3 of these out of the 9 of them, and they give us an indication. So Anne Gadd, I'm just going to give you the titles that she uses in their summarised versions as it relates to each of the 9 different types. Number 1, the sinning saint. Number 2, the sexy seducer. Number 3, awesomely orgasmic. Number 4, the romantic Romeo or Juliet. Number 5, the lonely lover. Number 6, the loyal lover. Number 7, the spontaneous suitor. Number 8, the lusty lover. Number 9, the sensual sweetener. So what we end up with is, once again, they've got all of these different labels, but those labels sort of are aligned with a much deeper sense of who we turn up in terms of where our numbers fit, or how we align with those numbers in the personality test. So once again, this is something that you can do online to go and find out what your core or most prevalent numbers are in the Enneagram, and then do some research about what that represents around sexuality. It's just another tool of being able to better understand who you are and who this person is. And of course, then finally, and an area that I've had a lot of interest in over many years is numerology. And basically with numerology, to find out what your core number is, you take your birth date and basically add up all the numbers. And so, for example, my birth date's the 4th of November, so 4 plus 1 and 1 in the 11 of November is 6, and then 1958. 1 and 9 is 10, and 8 is 18, and 5 is 23. 2 and 3 is 5. And when I add those to the 6 that I had before, that comes up to 11, and 1 and 1 is 2. So what we're able to do is go through, and that number that you end up with gives us an idea of where you sit. Now, it's more complicated than that, but here's a really simple sort of summary. And once again, it's 9 numbers, but very different to the Enneagram. Number 1 needs a passionate sex life, adore feeling sexy and sensual. Number 2, you dream of an emotionally charged sex life. Sex is a means of expressing the love that you feel for your partner. Number 3, you want excitement in the bedroom. Spontaneity is what you need to keep you and on your toes. Number 4, you are laid back in the bedroom. Places a lot of importance on traditional values around sexuality. Number 5, you are playfully sensual. Sex needs to be playful and lively, needs variety. Number 6, fiery and unpredictable in between the seats. Needs time and affection before following your deepest sexual desires. 7 is a very intellectual style, and so there has to be a connection intellectually. And of course, this is somebody who'll have good knowledge and understanding, and so potentially has the ability to bring a lot of appreciation in sexual encounters by virtue of their knowledge. Number 8, sweet between the sheets, needs a passionate and exciting sex life to keep you interested. Number 9, enthusiastic lover. Intense, powerful sex is like an art for you. So these are a whole lot of different ways that you could explore gaining a much greater understanding and more knowledge about who you are and about who your lover is, and therefore in becoming more aware by virtue of having gained so much more understanding, you're then able to be more mindful of your needs as well as the needs of your lover. And I think that both of those really are important. This isn't just about satisfying the needs of your lover. This is also about being able to speak what your needs are and what's true for you as it relates to your experience in sexuality. Anyway, so there's just some suggestions for you as you take time to step back and have a look at who you are in between the sheets, and how it is that you can be first more aware, which will then allow you to be more mindful. Anyway, I hope you find it interesting. If you want to know more about the Enhances Awareness program, and everything that we do is about enhancing people's awareness, please go to eapmentor.com and to our Facebook page as well, EAP Mentor, Enhances Awareness program. And if there's anything that you want to know, please contact us. And I look forward to next month, where we add another way of looking at mindfulness being applied in day-to-day living. Speak to you then. Bye.